How's it going, guys? Mutant XP on the mic. Welcome to another edition of the Mutant XPerience podcast, episode 32. Tonight's guest, I am super excited for tonight's show. We have none other than Long Island Joe.
Hey,
Zip it up.
what's up? Yeah, I guess it's cold in here.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It's
It's
cold.
a little cold today, right? Strange.
It's really. I didn't even get to tweet this out yet. I didn't know we were gonna start so quick.
Oh, well, my bad. Well,
There we
you
go. There
go
we
ahead
go.
and take your time.
I did it.
Okay, great. All right. So once again, guys, welcome to Mutant XPerience podcast. Tonight we have a long time FGC
really long
mainstay,
time.
but I will always remember him as a Third Strike player. Obviously, we got Li Joe.
I will actually always remember me as a Third Strike player too. As a matter of fact.
Do you hear that, guys? So I actually wanted to start the stream, Joe, because I wanted to get your take on this analogy. So
Sure.
So it's no surprise that you're a big Star Wars fan, right?
Oh, I love Star Wars. Yeah.
I mean, clearly it's
Yeah.
and I don't want to. It's a Third Strike podcast, so I could obviously talk Star Wars with you for hours. But as me and some other dedicated TOs in the Third Strike scene have been putting together the Jazzy Circuit, which of course is the Third Strike League that myself and some other players started late last year. And obviously, since you're here, Joe, I wanted to thank you for allowing us to run one of our earlier events at ECT last year.
Of course.
And obviously we'll be talking about this year's ECT in a little bit later in the show. But I wanted to run by you this analogy that I had. Like,
let's hear it.
Like, to me, like, what makes Third Strike so, like, what keeps it around is because I don't think Third Strike ever leaves us. Like what if Third Strike isn't so much a game? What if it's like a mindset? What if it's like an energy? Like, as blasphemous as this may sound to you, Joe, what if Third Strike is kind of like the Force?
If Third Strike was going to be anything, I think it really would be an energy.
Right?
Like, I can get behind this. I can back this up.
It's almost like everything has a little Third Strike in it. Kind of like the Force, right? The Force exists everywhere, and some people have it, a lot more than others, right? Like, I feel like Third Strike is kind of like that too. Like, it's not just a game.
Third Strike is definitely an energy.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
Because on the last podcast, we had obviously none other than Justin on there, and I asked him, if there was anything that playing Third Strike makes him good at in other fighting games.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about reads, for some reason, when you play Third Strike, like, you're really good at making reads.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Joe? Like, is that something that you think?
Is true, I could, because a lot of the game, especially when it comes to, I guess, the balance of offense and defense. Uh-huh. I mean, I think a lot of people are just going to jump to the like, oh, you mean like read like a parry, like, I think that's going to be the first part of the mindset, but I don't think that's necessarily completely true. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's definitely part of it. Yeah. Like getting, that's my favorite thing about Third Strike is that, and I talk about this all the time, is that when you beat somebody in Third Strike or you win, it's like, you really beat them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you were able to read or counter or do, or just it's a strong form of being legitimately better. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really lost. Like, you lost straight up. I mean, obviously, again, there's shit that's cheap in every single game, but it just feels like when you win, like, you win, and when you lose, you're like, damn, like, I lost to that. Like, I lost to that person, or I lost to this. I don't know. It's just, for as much bullshit that's in the game, like, I want to say solid, but I'm not sure if that's accurate.
Yeah, is it accurate? I don't know if solid's the right adjective.
Yeah, solid's not the right word. It's really hard to explain, but like you said, like, Third Strike gives it's a certain feel that only Third Strike can give you.
Maybe the better way to describe it is, like, what makes perhaps Third Strike unique from other games is you sort of feel like you sort of feel like you're always in it. You know,
Yeah.
like you know how in certain games you gotta wait your turn. You know you can't
Yeah.
really do anything.
Yeah.
But with Third Strike, it's
That's
almost
true.
like
That's true. Yeah, I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
you know, even with Chun, right? Like we were talking about this before the podcast started. But I mean, like, what's your feeling about Chun? Because you know, Chun gets a lot of like a lot of flack and all that stuff.
Yeah. I
But
mean, it's. Go ahead. Sorry, Gar. Go
but
ahead.
like if you ask like any true Third Strike player, like for example yourself, I bet you love playing against Chun, right?
It's funny. You asked me about streaming. The last time I was playing Third Strike and I was streaming Third Strike, there was like the chat was talking about chuns and shit, and there were like a couple of chuns were like coming up on the screen, and I'm like, guys, you don't understand. I used to play Justin every single day. I'll play this matchup all day long. Like, give me any chun you got. Bring them all to me. I don't care.
Dude,
And just for and also obviously thank you, Justin, for a big part of me being good at Third Strike is actually Justin's responsibility. Not, I guess, yeah, it is. Justin is highly responsible for me being good at Third Strike. So thank you, Justin, and thank you for the years of Chun experience and just continuously whipping my ass. But I will gladly play a Chun, regardless of what anybody says to Chun. I'm like, yeah, bring this bitch on, whatever.
mm-hmm. Speaking of Chun, and speaking of Justin, I wanted to go ahead and start talking about some of your earliest memories playing
Mm.
Third Strike.
Oh God.
Um, and I wanted to start by sharing with you like a very faint memory. And I think this is the first time I ever met you. Like we never like how it was back in the arcade, right? Like it
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah. It
like
was
now,
kind of
right?
like,
Where it's like, oh
yeah,
hey, what's your name?
yeah,
Oh this is me, this is
yeah.
you. Let's trade
No, yeah,
Twitter
it wasn't like
handles.
that. Yeah, it was not like
It
that.
wasn't like that in the arcade, right? It was mainly like, oh okay, okay, there's that dude. But
Yeah,
I distinctly
exactly.
remember, I think it was some sort of like random 2v2 Third Strike tournament in CF. Or it was something. I know it was teams. And I know I was there. And I could have sworn that was the first time I saw you. You still had hair, obviously.
Yes.
And you were very quiet. One of the things I
Yeah.
remembered is the first few, times you went to CF, you were really quiet. And I actually think I don't know. For some reason I have this faint memory that Justin chose you as his teammate, but I don't know if you guys really knew each other at the time. So I wanted you to clarify. Now the podcast is on. I wanted you to clarify exactly how did you start playing Third Strike?
All right. Well, I started you like from the start.
Yeah, from the
'Cause I
start.
could I
Start.
could tell you the first time I saw that game
Yes.
in front of me.
Yes.
The first time I saw that game, I was in. Do you want to know about Third Strike or Street Fighter 3? We're talking about Third Strike,
Third
right?
Strike. Third Strike. Third
Strike
Strike.
Third Strike.
Yeah.
I was in Westbury Nathan's playing Tekken Tag Tournament 1,
Mm-hmm.
and the Westbury Nathan's was like a pretty. Excuse me. It was like a pretty happening arcade for like fighting games on the island. And I went there to purposely play Tekken Tag 1. I used to use Devil Jin and Julia, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So I was using Devil Jin and Julia, and I was beating people in Tekken Tag 1. And around the machine there
Mm-hmm.
was a Third Strike cabinet. So I remember seeing it, and I was like, the first character I picked, I was like, yo, who's this dude with that turquoise green blue long hair? He looks sick. And it was the first character I picked was Remy. And I remember playing the game just being like, wow, this looks cool. And then I was like, all right, but no one's playing this, so I'm gonna go back and play Tekken with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the first time I ever like touched the game. And then after that, I remember when Giant Impact
Second,
was the
or you mean
name.
the Dreamcast? Are you talking about the
Yes,
Dreamcast?
yes.
Double
It was called
Impact.
Giant Impact.
Yep.
Double Impact. Yes, sorry. When Double Impact came out, I used to work in a video game store, and then I bought that game because I remember. I think I played it after Third Strike. I think I did. And then I got Double Impact 'cause I worked at a game store, and I got the import version of Double Impact.
Mhm.
And then I used to work at this arcade called Fun Zone in Long Island, where I met John Gallagher, by the way. And they got the game there, like 2000 and like 2002. It had to be. Hold on. When did I start going to Chinatown? Started going to Chinatown when I was 14, but I went to Chinatown 2000. Yeah, it had to be like 2002, 2003, around there. So the arcade I worked at had Third Strike, and I was like, oh shit, I remember this game. So I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just gonna play this game. And then the first character I actually played that I wanted to get good was Oro, believe it or not.
Wow.
It was Oro, yes. The first character I was like, all right, this is a character I'm gonna use. It was Oro, Akuma, Urian, and then Ken. And then I just kind of just kind of flopped between Ken and Urian when I started playing the game more. But that is the initial first, like, all right, I'm a Third Strike player. Like, I want to be good at this game. I enjoy playing the game. And that was the history. And then after that, I went to Chinatown Fair and used to get my ass kicked continuously. But I started going to Chinatown Fair to actually play King of Fighters.
Mhm.
KOF 2001 was out when I was going there. That was like brand new. So I started going there for that game. And then once again, my arcade got Third Strike and I knew Chinatown had Third Strike. I was like, all right, now I can play, because my arcade didn't have KOF. So when my arcade got Third Strike, I was like, cool, I can practice here and then go to the city and play in Chinatown. And I practiced and I sucked and I sucked and I sucked. And then I just kept playing. And then I obviously, like, I met everybody there and I met people like you and Duke and then Frankie and then Justin and then so on and so forth. And the entire Third Strike squad, and that's how I actually I met Darren too. Everybody knows Lava Heart, right?
I think most people in the
The
chat.
infamous Lava Heart, yeah.
Yeah.
He sorry, further down the road, a different arcade got Third Strike, whereas actually why John Gallagher started playing Third Strike, FYE in the Bayshore Mall got Third Strike, and Darren was there, and I was beating Darren. Darren's like, "Who the fuck is this kid beating me?" Yeah, he was like, "Who are you?" And then he started
You
coming. He
could you
started
could
coming,
swear,
and then
by the way, if you
yeah,
need to. You don't have to
yeah,
censor
he was
yourself.
he was. If you know Darren, you know Darren. He's like, "Man, who the fuck is this kid? Why is this kid beating me?" Uh, and then Darren, and after years and years and years, Darren got absolutely amazing. But we
Mhm.
first started playing in FYE, so like that game kind of followed me. It was weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was here, and then I played it, and then I went here, and then it came there,
Yeah.
and then I played it, and then I went somewhere else, and it was there, and then I played it. It was weird. It was like, hey Joe, like, it's me. I'm the game you want to play,
Going
and
back to my analogy about the force, right?
yeah, it's a feeling, dude. I'm
It's
with
a
you. I'm 100.
destiny. No matter
I'm right behind you.
no matter how much you think you're moving away from it, you're moving towards it. Yeah, wait, Oro? That's really interesting. Like go
Oro
back,
was my
because
first. Oro
why
was the first
Oro?
character. I don't know. I don't remember why I picked Oro. I really don't recall. But he was the first character that I was like, this is going to be the character I use. Again, the first character I picked was Remy,
Uh,
and then the first character I wanted to use was Oro.
Dude, I'm telling you, Joe, you need to you need to come back to Third Strike as an
I
Oro
do.
main. As an
I
Oro main.
do. I don't know if I could do
How
be the Oro
sick,
main.
guys! Please in the chat, how sick would it be if Long Island Joe main Oro? Because look, Joe, I know obviously you're a very talented fighting game player. Whatever
Thank you.
whatever you put your mind to, you've done it. I mean, Oro's got some broken stuff you could
Yeah,
abuse,
Oro's sick. Yeah,
and if you're
but
good
it's
in the
Aegis.
neutral.
He's got Aegis. It just
Yeah, like Ethan the Legend saying, "Please
Yeah.
don't play Oro," but Vagabond saying that would be sick. Wait a minute, Sandy's complaining. You're a Hugo main, Sandy. I mean, that's not that far off, but dude, I think your Hugo would be sick, Joe. I really do. Like, what is it about Oro that just sort of like,
I don't remember. I really
yeah,
don't remember, like, why I was, and it's honestly, there's a weird stereotype. Not a stereotype. It's kind of like a me and my friends, everyone that knows me
mhm,
is like, especially my close friends, will look at like a character select screen for a game that we've never played before.
yeah,
And I'll look at the screen and be like, so I'm like, damn, that character's sick. And someone's gonna be like, yeah, it's the character third box from the right. He's got black hair. He looks mad edgy. Yeah, that's your character, Joe. We know it. And I'm like, how'd you know? Like, everybody knows I kind of pick like these, like, kind of sort of, if the character's got a sword, you go, that's sick. I'm
yeah.
picking the character with the sword. If the character's got like long hair, that's dope. If he's got a scar, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. So, but yeah, Oro's very not aesthetically, it's just not a character that fits with me whatsoever. I don't even know why I picked him. I really don't even remember. I'm completely confused. It actually might have been, was it because of Second Impact? I don't even remember. I don't remember. I feel like it was Third Strike. Um, yeah, no, I think it was Third Strike. Again, I can't put my finger on why.
Mhm.
And then I was just messing around again, and I was like, oh yeah, this Ken character's kind of, and I hate Ken, by the way.
Mm.
I am a Ken hater. I
Oh,
cannot
okay.
stand Ken
So
Masters.
so this is
Like
very
the
this is
character, I
yeah.
hate Ken. Like I would pick Ryu forever over
Uh-huh.
Ken. But I'm like, yeah, Ken's pretty sick in this game.
Well, what didn't you like about Ken? Because this is kind of interesting.
Ken,
Because obviously you're known as a Ken main, right?
yeah, yeah.
So,
You know, like growing up when I was when Street Fighter 2 came out,
hmm,
I was always like, you know, why is this like American guy think it's all jokes and Ryu's like the serious one? Like, nah, like I'm into my craft, like I'm a master. Ken's like, yeah, whatever, I'm rich, blah blah. But I was like, I don't like Ken. I like
hmm,
Ryu better. And so I always like it's kind of like, you know, like a Sub-Zero Scorpion. Like I actually like Sub-Zero over Scorpion.
uh-huh.
So I like Ryu way over Ken, but just in Third Strike, like it feels so good to use Ken in Third Strike. It's nice. I
It's
like
that
it.
Katie Alpha calls it that white
Yeah, I like
privilege. That white. So tell me a little bit about how you started to like really try to get serious at getting good at Third Strike.
it. Probably going to Chinatown
Mm,
and losing a lot because I didn't really. This is gonna sound like the most cockiest asinine thing ever. But when I was playing on Long Island, even Ultimate MK3, which is the game like MK was my first real competitive fighting game. Like when I was a little kid, I used to play 1 and 2 and then 3, but I was super competitive in 3. Like I wasn't old. I was like 11 or 12, but my dad used to take me and like these guys that used to play, older guys, they were like 23, 24, 25. They used to go to different arcades. So my dad would take me to different spots to play with them, all different spots around LI. So that was like my first real competitive game. And so I used to win a lot here. Like there wasn't a lot of people that I remember losing to a lot. Like yeah, if we played 10 games, I'd lose like 3 or 4 or something, you know. But going to the city and playing anything and just being like, I cannot win. I cannot beat anybody. Like I'm really not good at fighting games at all. I thought I was good, and I'm really, really not good whatsoever. So, and especially losing in like Third Strike, because that was the game that was in Long Island, that was also in Chinatown. If that makes sense. Like UMK3 wasn't a game I played in the city. You know what I mean? So the fact that I was good in Third Strike on Long Island and then go into the city and be like, damn, like I thought I was good in this game. Like, no, you're really not. You suck. So that was kind of like a spark, like, damn, I'm really not good. And I wanted to be good. So then I started going to CF, excuse me, specifically just to play Third Strike.
mm.
And then, yeah, like I said, I started meeting everybody. A lot of people, I think, who said this? I think it was someone just said it. We were talking about the first time that they saw me, and it was at an ECC. Was it Yipes? I think it was Yipes. We were at ECC East Coast Championships, an 8 on the break, and I beat Flash in Third Strike, and he was like, "That was the first time." I was
Wow.
like, "Yo, who is this dude that
In
beat
tournament?
Flash?" Yeah,
Wow.
um, yeah, and then I think I lost to Ari that tournament. I think or Ari or Justin. I don't even remember. But yeah, Yipes was like, that's the first time I remember being like, who is that? You know, like Dan, this Joe guy just beat Flash or some shit like that. But that was yeah, man, it's that was the first moment where I started getting known, but wanting to play Third Strike was just because I thought I was good at it, and then I realized I wasn't, and I was like, hold on, wait. I got to figure this out.
Hmm. I think it's a pretty common experience, particularly back in the arcade days, right?
Yeah.
Like a
Hmm.
lot of people were always like the best among their friends or the
Yeah,
best
best
in
on the
their
block. Yeah, I beat
neighborhood.
everybody in my school. Like same shit.
You know, big fish, small pond, and then
Hmm.
you get to CF and things are a little different.
Are
Um,
they ever?
so one thing that I definitely, because I really do want to have Johnny, Sweet Johnny Cage, for those of you who don't know,
Johnny.
I definitely want to have Johnny on the podcast as well, because one thing that I feel like, or like a story, that hasn't really been told about Third Strike is Long Island's role in keeping the game alive. Because I think, obviously, you and Johnny, you guys started out with, what was originally called what the Castle Night,
Yep.
your
Yep.
Castle
Castle
Night,
Fight Night. Yeah.
Castle Fight Night events,
Yep.
which somehow evolved into
Now what?
ECT,
Yeah.
right? Which is
Yep.
amazing. But
Yep.
could you tell us a little bit about like how Long Island started to sort of get more and more involved in the Third
Yeah.
Strike scene?
It was essentially me, it wasn't just me. I shouldn't say it's definitely not just me. I didn't mean to say me as in me, but me wanting to be good at the game made like everyone else around me want to play too. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like, we had the game. It was in the arcade. We all went to this one arcade. So I was
Mhm.
like, all right, well, there's not really much of a selection here, but Third Strike is here. So we just played Third Strike.
Oh,
And
just to interrupt you real quick,
yeah.
Joe. But
Mhm.
around what year was this? To give us a little like.
Oh, 2004,
Okay.
5 ish.
Okay.
Because when was ECC? I took John to ECC. No, not Evo East. I think that was 2007
Okay.
Evo East.
So the first Evo East was the
Was it
first
6 or 7?
the first Evo East was 6 because that was the
Okay, it
first
was,
time they did those regional Evos.
yeah, the regionals.
Yeah.
So
So.
it was either 6 or 7.
Mhm,
So I don't remember which one. So we were already playing at a competitive level
mhm,
before
mhm,
that. So I'm trying to kind of sort of piece it together.
mhm.
So it was because I used to go to Chinatown by myself. Like none of my friends at the time really wanted to play fighting games or were that good, so they didn't really like want to come and just stand in an arcade and waste money. So I used to go by myself and meet like maybe a couple people there. So it had, and that was like that was 2001 or two, and then
Mhm.
yeah, it's got to be like either 2004 or 2005. I can totally be messing this up. You know who knows this way better than me? John. Like John's dates, John. I'd be like, oh yeah, that was September 3rd, 2015 at 8 o'clock. I'm like, what?
He's
Yeah, John's crazy. Yeah, John's crazy. But we started playing at the mall.
mhm,
Um, at FYE in Bayshore, and it just kind of became like a thing. And then I started playing, and then my friend Lex, who used to work in the arcade, started playing. He was like pretty good at fighting games, and he started playing. And then we met Darren, and Darren came to start playing. And then John was never really into fighting games, but he and I started hanging out a lot. And I was playing Third Strike. He was like, "Yeah, let me play." So I taught John how to play Third Strike, and then we all just, and that's just how it happened. And then we would all be at the mall like this little group of 6 or 7 of us every Friday. And Lex used to work at the arcade, so he would come over to Third Strike and open up the coin thing. So it was open a little bit, and he'd be like,
mm,
"Go ahead, guys, like go get him."
nice.
Yeah, and yeah, and then we started doing things in my friend Ryan's backyard. So then a bunch of other people like Gil, Manny's little brother. We used to all go in like a backyard and do house sessions and stuff. And then it turned into John running the tournaments, which started being DDR tournaments originally. Then he started having fighting games there too. And then we used to have like Third Strike and Melty Blood and Guilty Gear and everything else was there. And then everyone just kind of started playing. Everybody wanted to get better, and it was just like it was a thing to do. You know what I'm saying? And we were all into it, so it's what we did.
So here's a quick question. So, well, first of all, I want to preface this by saying that I don't I love Long Island, Joe. Like, I mean, I don't love you. Well, I mean, I do love you
It's all
too,
right.
Joe. But I love Long
I
Island,
love
the
you too.
area,
Yeah.
Joe. Right? There's nothing wrong with Long Island. There's great things to do in Long Island, obviously, right? But my question is, how on earth did you get? Were you able to get people to come from the city to those events? I mean, like, was it easy? Was it difficult? I mean, how? Because like you've been talking about like like a direction, like basically Long Island to you were talking about how you go to
Yeah.
CF and stuff. But
Yeah.
how were you and Johnny able to get people to come from the city to Long Island?
Yeah, we used to have a couple people, it was an event, and like John has always ran good events. The location was kind of cool. It was kind of in like this arcade mini golf go-kart place. So there were
Mm,
like other things to do. There was food there. And they just come with me. Like we would either go to Chinatown on Friday,
mm,
pick people up, bring them back to my house or whose ever house, and then we would go to the tournament on Saturday. And it was just like it was like a real it was camaraderie. You know what I'm saying? Like
mm,
we were friends. Like Justin would come and Noel would come, and then everyone else would be there, and then um, like KO Fiend used to come, and Flash Flash would be there. By the way, when I said Flash, I don't mean this is going to sound racist. Not White Flash, Flash Gordon,
mm.
Flash G
Yeah,
was who I beat.
that's
Okay,
who I
yeah,
assumed. Yeah, you were
okay, yeah,
talking
yeah, yeah, yeah.
about.
I want to make I forget this Flash Metroid, Flash G, and
Yeah,
Flash.
yeah. Flash
um,
G, Flash G.
Yeah, Flash G, sorry, yeah. So, like, they would come and, Flash would come, KO Fiend would come and everything. It was just I don't know, it was it was a thing to do, and also, like I said, we were good, you know what I mean? So there was good competition, like, and then Justin would come. Obviously, Justin is the competition, so
Mhm.
it was just a really good place to play. It was a good scene. We were all cool. There was never like crazy animosity or
Right.
anything. Like we just
Mhm.
wanted to play, and it was like I said, a thing to do, and we were all into it. So it felt good to have like you and the homies have something to do, but
Mhm.
everybody felt good about it. It wasn't like, oh, I do it, so I guess I'll do it. Like we were all energetic about it, and I made that vibe is probably something that wasn't there too much, especially in CF in the city. I mean, I could be wrong, but I didn't obviously grow up in the city around the local scene. I grew up in Chinatown, but I don't know what was going on outside of Chinatown. At the early ages. Um, but yeah, like people definitely came out to support. That's for sure. That's for sure.
Mhm. I mean, I think a lot of that also has to do with the fact that, like, kind of like what I was saying before. Like, I think Long Island, deserves a lot of credit for keeping Third Strike alive on the East Coast, because I felt like when you guys started ramping up, your Third Strike events, that's when kind of Third Strike was kind of sort of fizzling
Yeah,
out a
dying
little
in a
bit,
little bit. Yeah.
and everyone was just waiting for four to
Mm.
drop.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, like, when four dropped, right? Like, I kind of wanted to get your, like, sort of, like, from like a Third Strike player's perspective, right? When four dropped, like, how did things change for you then? Like, in terms of.
Well, I first played 4
Uh-huh.
at SBO, Super Battle Opera
Uh-huh.
Togeki 2008.
Mhm.
I was there. I wasn't playing. I never qualified for Third Strike. I only qualified for 4 and at
Uh-huh.
SBO. Um, I I went with Justin Gutex. I don't remember who else was on the team, but I went with them to Japan for my first time in 2008 to SBO, and we were in Game in Sakura, and they had 4. And I remember being like, "All right, so I'm gonna play Third Strike," and they were Third Strike was here, and 4 was right. Like I could touch the screen from Third Strike. It was right next to us. So I was playing Third Strike, and then, oh, sick, 4 is here, crazy. Let's play 4. So I played 4. I was like, this game sucks. I'm playing Third Strike. So I must have played 4 like 7 times, and this is before it came out in America. This is summer of 2008.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, I played a couple. I'm like, yeah, whatever. This game sucks. I'm gonna play Third Strike. So I just played Third Strike the whole time in Japan. I think the most I played 4 was when we were leaving Japan. We stopped in an arcade because we had some time, and that was the most I played 4. And I was like, all right, I guess it's okay. Like I don't know, I don't really know what the hell's going on, but um, and then obviously, I mean, 4 like Street Fighter in general. I guess the Third Strike. Well, MK was like the start of me and my drive or whatever, my FGC competitive stuff. Third Strike kicked it into like a serious high gear, and then 4 really exploded it. And then I mean 5 was a cherry on top for me. So
Mhm. Oh no, awesome, awesome. It's really interesting because you were in Japan when four started, when four dropped.
yep.
And so obviously you didn't have a very good first reaction to the game. But what was the crowd in Japan like? Like, were people
Honestly,
excited about four, or were people
everybody
just.
was playing Third Strike. I'm not kidding. Everybody was playing Third Strike because also you also got to remember like this is during SBO,
Yeah.
so everybody is training for Third Strike. Everyone is kind of like, ah, like if I play 4, I'll play it after SBO. So everybody was playing Third Strike. Like the arcades were not. I don't remember walking into an arcade and being like, "Holy shit, why is everybody around this game?" I will say when Arcade Edition came out in Japan, because I went back for Arcade Edition,
Mm-hmm.
that shit was bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Like I remember going to Shinjuku, the arcade, the title station right there off the train, and going downstairs, busting that right. I think it's a right, busting that right, and the 4 was right there as soon as the arcade opened up, and everybody. And this is also the time where if you guys are new into or newer in the FGC, Japanese players did not come here 10 years ago like they do now. It was like Daigo's coming to this tournament. It was crazy to even think about. Now it's like, of course Daigo's here, of course he's here, of course they're here. It's a common thing now. But back in the day, to see all those players in one room was like astonishing. So I remember walking down the stairs and every Japanese player I could possibly think about was standing around AE. Everybody,
Oh.
everybody was there. Mago was there. Mago was there. Tokido was there. Bonchan was there. Nemo was there. Who else was there? Fudo was there. Who's the T-Hawk player? K something K. I forgot his name. He used to play 4 a lot. He was there. I forgot the crazy, really good dude only played Ryu. He was there. Every person I can possibly think about, especially at that time, was there. And I was like, this is incredible. This is incredible. So the scene for early 4, again, I don't think was you like how I tell stories and you ask a question and I just fucking run with it.
No, I love it. I love it. It's good. It makes my life
So
easier.
yeah, right. So anyway, the original question, the 4 didn't seem too crazy in Japan during that time, but again, it was during SBO and people were practicing for other games, and because 4 wasn't there, so. But
Mhm.
yeah, AE was fucking wild. Oh, had to be AE because Yun was there, so it wasn't Super. It was AE. Yeah.
So what so let's go back to your first time in Japan, right? Was that your first time
Okay.
in Japan?
My first time in Japan
2008?
was 2008. Yes.
Okay. And you just went with Justin just to, just to go.
Yeah,
And
yeah. They were going for SBO, and I'm like, yo, like,
you
I want
didn't
to
you,
come.
didn't-
And they're
you,
like,
you didn't enter the last chance?
I did not enter the
Okay.
last chance. No.
Okay. And so
I I did, however, and I'm holding this to the grave.
oh.
Upstairs,
Uh-huh.
I'm sorry, here I go again. Above where all the games were being played,
Uh-huh.
they had casuals for every game that was at SBO.
Okay.
So obviously, I'm sitting there playing Third Strike, and I played Nuki, and I beat him 1 game, and that was it.
Wow.
I never played him ever again.
You've never
1
played him in
game.
any game.
Nope,
Not
I
even
played Nuki
4, not
1
5.
no, no, he beat me in 5 at
Okay.
tournament, but
Okay.
I played Onuki-san in 1 game at Third Strike, and I beat him, and that's it, never playing him ever again.
And no footage, nothing.
Nope, 1 game, we played once.
Anyone was around you, any...
I don't even remember.
That just means you're undefeated against
That's
Nuki,
it,
Joe.
that's it,
That's what
1-0,
it
man, hold that.
means. So aside from Nuki, like, were there like, because obviously by 2008 you're like super entrenched in Third Strike, right?
Yes, absolutely,
And
yeah,
so
yes,
I can only assume that when you're heading to Japan, you just can't wait to like see all these godlike
yes,
Third Strike players that you only know through YouTube and all the
yep,
other old video
mhm,
services. So like
mhm.
when you got there, like who were some of the players that you were like, I gotta find them, or I gotta watch them play, or
Yeah, I was really hoping to see RX and Deshiken play, and Spellmaster J. Spellmaster J was like my hero back in
uh-huh.
the day. I used to love Spellmaster J. And obviously like Kuroda was, like I wanted to play Kuroda, but when I was at Game I played Rue was there,
Hmm.
YSB was there, Deshiken was there,
Uh-huh.
Eno was there, Boss was there, and I lost to everybody a lot. I lost to everybody a lot, but I remember playing Deshiken
Uh-huh.
and being like, "This is fucking stupid." Like, this is so dumb. Like, why am I even doing this? I was like, "I'm going home. Get me a flight home." It was I've never felt so. That's not true. One of the not humbling times. I wasn't humble. I just got fucking destroyed. Like I didn't
Uh-huh.
know. I'm like, I can't believe I've been playing this game for this long, and this guy's truly making me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. Like
Hmm.
I had 2 left hands. I'm like, what is happening?
Hmm.
Jesus.
And so at the
Lord.
time, right? Like obviously, once you get over that initial shock, right? That wow, like these guys are like how you feel like you're not even playing the same game, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
obviously you had some time to reflect on that. Like why do you think that is? Like is it
What I think
just
what is.
like why do you think like why do you think the skill gap at that time was so wide for yourself and other American players when they
I
were
don't
young?
I don't know. Like it's like I mean, obviously, Third Strike, especially in Japan, is like kind of sort of taken to the next level. But
Mm-hmm.
just the Japanese culture in general, like if they're gonna do something, like they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna do it and just be unbelievable. Like it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter what it is. They have a very um the mind frame, they're how they approach things is just completely different than I think I would or most Americans. Not everybody, but it's just so that trait is so dominant in the Japanese culture, and it shows in everything that they do. Like, that's why Tokyo is sick in general, by the way, but that's why everything is just it's like tenfold there. You know what I mean? Like if they're gonna be good at their strike, like no, they're gonna like even if you listen to the way even Daigo talks about five sometimes, like when he does interviews on five, I'm like, how did he even think that? Like, how did you get that deep in it? It's because that whole frame of mind is just it's there and it's there and it's so strong, and that just applies to their strike and everything else. And here, I don't think we definitely don't have the same skill in general. I think Japan's also amazing for that part too, is because they're all not all, most of them are amazing, and it's very tight knit. You know what I mean? Very tight knit community. It's not like America where, to play someone in California, they got to come all the way over here. In Japan, it's like, yeah, like, you get on a 2-hour bullet train and Osaka to Tokyo, and then, everyone is in Osaka is playing people in Tokyo. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I feel like just sheer numbers, right? And just how
yeah, numbers
close.
is huge. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think now's a good time to take our first break. But before we go ahead and do that, I just wanted to remind everyone. Sorry, just a second here. I was actually showing a few clips of some old Castle Fight Night videos on the stream.
Damn, you
Uh,
got those?
they're on YouTube. Shout outs to the Shen, by the way.
Oh, the Shen, the
You
Lord.
know, and so before we take our first break, I just wanted to remind everyone to please check out the Jazzy Circuit, the only national gaming league devoted to Third Strike. We started it back in August of 2018, and we're about to wrap up in a couple weeks, and then all eyes will be on Defend the North, which is the place for the Jazzy Circuit finale. And so, for those of you who are interested in learning more about the Jazzy Circuit, definitely check us out on smash.gg/the Jazzy Circuit. And also, we invite you to check out the official Matcherino for the Jazzy Circuit. Currently, we're at $3,389. And so, shout outs to everyone who has, in one way or another, supported the Jazzy Circuit, especially those of you who have been kind enough to donate. Remember, guys, that you guys can donate to the Matcherino completely for free.
Donate to the Matcherino.
All you have to do is enter the code Jazzy3S to add 50 cents to the prize pool. You can also do the sponsor quests, follow Twitter handles, subscribe to certain YouTube channels, retweet certain tweets, and a certain amount gets added to the Matcherino as well. You can also buy some of this merch. We got the Team Spooky t-shirts. We got the Jazzy Circuit t-shirts in 5 colors. What's your color, Joe? I'm gonna.
I would.
Well, what color would you get? Black.
Yeah, probably a black one.
Black.
Probably a black one.
Black one. Okay. All
Probably a
right.
black one.
And so you can buy a shirt. They're $20 plus shipping. And once you buy a shirt, Matcherino will automatically add $8 to the prize pool. And so once again, guys, shout outs to everyone who has supported the Jazzy Circuit. Definitely check out the Matcherino. You can get through it through our Smash page, or you can just type in jazzycircuit.com and it'll take you directly to the Matcherino. All
Hit
right.
it.
So we're gonna go ahead and take about a 3 to 4 minute break, and when we come back, we'll have more Mutant XPerience podcast with Li Joe. Don't go anywhere, guys.
Oh shit.
Just in time.
Shit.
How's it going, guys? Mutant XP back on the mic. Once again, you are watching the Mutant XPerience podcast, episode 32. My special guest for tonight is none other than L.I. Joe.
I just dropped 4 gummy bears on the floor.
Oh no! What kind of what brand of gummy bears do you? Oh, there you go. The only sour?
Look,
The sour
yeah, I
ones?
know.
Oh
Listen,
my
hold
god.
on. This is the first choice, but this is what I got. This is what was given to me, rather.
Oh, okay. Like that. All right. So before we went on break, we had just gotten we're in the middle of talking about your experiences in Japan, Joe. And so I just
Okay.
wanted to pick your brain a little bit more about your
Mhm.
experience playing Third Strike in Japan. So obviously, you had talked a little bit about how you felt like you were super overmatched when you went there. But was that for like every player, or was it just certain players? Like
No,
you know how like in back home, right? In the arcade, everyone can kind of gauge what level each player is at.
yeah.
You have your average players and so forth and so on.
Yeah.
Like, did you get a sense of that as well when you were in Japan, or were they just all killers?
Yeah, honestly, I was just like, it was stressful.
Uh-huh.
It was overwhelming. It was the first time, well, not the first time. It was the first time since I felt that skill gap. Like the first time I felt it was going to CF for the first time.
Mhm.
I'm like, oh shit. And then going to Japan for the first time, it's like, oh fuck. It was every time you just felt that you weren't where you thought you were. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And like, how did anyone at the time, like, did any Japanese players like reach out to you, or kind of like, or not really?
Yeah, no one. Yeah, and also me, like around that time, nobody knew who the hell I was in
Yeah,
Japan. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like everyone
Uh-huh.
they just thought I was just some guy didn't going to play Third Strike. So
Mhm.
it wasn't like anyone was talking to me. Like people spoke to Justin. Obviously, everybody knew who Justin was.
Mhm.
But yeah, no one really like spoke to me or like heavily interacted with me. And also again, going in Japan. Excuse me, going to Japan during that early SBO, like,
Mhm.
everyone is just so focused, man. Like they were on it, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Yeah, it's so interesting because my first time in Japan was almost 10 years after you went.
Mhm.
So I first went to Japan, for Third Strike, in 2017, in
Mhm.
January of 2017, and it's just interesting how things, it's just interesting to sort of compare our experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you went at a time where it feels like I don't want to say that the Japanese players are unfriendly, but I definitely feel like that the people that are jumping into the Third Strike scene now, they definitely are an advantage. I feel like more and more people, like especially for players that go to Japan,
Yeah.
like I feel like Japanese players are much more welcoming to
Yeah.
to Gaijin Third Strike players
Mhm.
now. Mainly because it's an older game.
Yeah.
We're trying to keep the game alive. But you went when it was like the Wild
Yeah.
West, right? Like you went at the height of competitiveness, and I can
Yeah.
only imagine just how rough it
Yeah,
was.
it was insane. It really was. It was incredible. It was everything good and everything bad I could possibly imagine.
Now, were there any like, did you just mainly play casuals, or did you play some tournaments, or?
No, I didn't. Yeah, it was really just the casuals. Like I said, the only time I really, because when we got there, it was 2 days before SBO, I think. So we got there 2 days before. We hung out, whatever. The next day we went to a game in, and then like the next day was SBO. So I didn't really get a lot of chance. I mean, I played a lot when I was there, but I didn't like enter any tournaments. There wasn't like a lot of stuff going on. And we only went to game, and I think did Eno own Game?
Hmm.
I don't remember who owned it, but one of the players owned it. So they like invited Justin there, and like I said, everybody was there. So I played there. That was the most I played against that caliber of player
Mhm.
was the night before SBO or whatever night. I think it was the night before.
Mhm. And so what are some of the things that you feel like you took away after you went to Japan? Because I remember playing you like around 2009,
Hmm.
and clearly you had I don't know if it was let's just real talk here, Joe.
Yeah, yeah.
Real
Of
talk
course.
moment, real quick.
Of
Okay,
course.
so like everyone knows, right? Like there's this sort of myth that's been around for a really long time, right? You go to Japan and what happens? You get godlike, right?
Yeah, you get
Like
caught like, yeah.
right, that's
Yeah.
the
What a
belief.
myth.
Clearly it's BS, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not it doesn't work necessarily
No,
that way.
yeah, it doesn't.
But with that said though, right? Like clearly you had gotten better at the game.
Yeah. Hmm.
Do you think there was something in Japan that helped something? Like do you think it was something about your trip to Japan that helped you click? Or do you think it was just sort of like a natural progression? Like if you hadn't gone to Japan and you had just kept playing Third Strike, you would have gotten better anyway.
No, I think just losing the way that I was losing,
Mm-hmm.
it and the reason why there is this myth that you get better in Japan is that you need to play at a different level, especially back then. Like you need to elevate yourself. Like you actually have no choice, you know. Here or like amongst your friends, you might not feel that need to be not be better, but have to play at that high caliber in order to even get a single win.
Mm-hmm.
So in Japan, especially then, it was like you had no choice. Like everything has to be spot on. You know what I mean? You have to play almost perfect. You know, you have to make every decision's got to be right. You know, you have to manage your punishes, manage your meter, make sure you understand, like how to get out of shit and why would this happen instead of doing this. Like you have to have every single plan A, plan B, and plan C in your head for absolutely all scenarios, like all scenarios. And I don't think when you're playing in America, at least again, this is going back in 2008. So I'm sure that's different now. But going back to 2008, that wasn't it wasn't like that in America, especially for Third Strike. Third Strike, like you said before, was kind of dying out at that time. So there was a scene, but wasn't as strong, especially the way it was in Japan. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So I do think feeling those losses and being able to play around that kind of people did help me get better. Like it actually helped me be patient more and make those better decisions. Believe it or not, because I'm not very patient. I don't really make good decisions in fighting games anymore. But then it like again you have no choice but to play at that level over there, and I just kind of carried that back to America. And like I said, I played a lot there when I was there. I played at least a couple, but that was the most I played was the night before um SBO. But yeah, it's just you're forced, you really have no choice. It's kind of like a fight or flight, sink or swim sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it helped me a lot, and in fighting games in general, because that was the first time I really come into contact, not come into contact, but really got a chance to sit there and play the Japanese. You know what I mean? Not like, oh yeah, we're at a tournament and there's 18 people around the one station, die goes that, and you play one game and you get up and that's it. It was like everyone's here, no matter who I play. Someone is sitting down on the other side of that cabin. That's going to be ridiculous.
Yeah, it's pretty daunting. It's really
Yeah.
intimidating.
Mhm.
Um, so I wanted to get your opinion about some American players that were
Mhm.
around at the time. Primarily, your opinion about some of the West Coast players.
Mhm.
Obviously, East Coast versus West Coast. It wasn't. It's not. I don't know if you would agree, but I don't know if that rivalry was as much prominent in Third Strike as it was in other games. I
Yeah.
didn't really think it was.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, but like, when did you start? Learning. Like, when did you start sort of paying attention to the West Coast Third Strike players, primarily like
Uh,
the ones from
fairly,
Family Fun?
yeah, FFA fairly early. I went to FFA once, by the way, actually
Hmm.
too. When I went to E3 one year, I'm like, I need to go to FFA. Before I go any further, I need to show love to Denjin Arcade, which was the greatest place on earth when Denjin Arcade was open. Denjin Arcade was so sick. All the guys there were so dope. Really, really, really good time over there.
Yeah, I
Um,
ran into you there for
Really?
for SBO Quals 2009.
Yes,
You
2009. Yeah,
went
that
there.
was
You went there for
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 Street
for
Fighter 4.
4,
Yep.
right? And you
Yeah, I
had that
remember that.
amazing epic match versus
Yep.
Kenai
Yep.
and Valle, right? Was it
Yep.
Kenai and
Yep.
Valle?
Yeah, can I invite?
And
Yep.
it was you and Arturo,
Yeah,
or
me and Art. Yeah,
oh
me and
my
combo.
god, that was so
Yeah,
sick.
combo fiend beat us.
Oh,
Fucking
that's
fight.
right, Combo Feed.
Yeah, combo
Oh,
fiend beat us.
dude, you guys, like, everyone was screaming at you,
Yeah.
dude. Like, you
Yeah,
had
it was.
no friends.
Yeah,
You know?
and that was actually the first time I've ever been put in. Now, like Art was kind of sort of used to it at
Uh-huh.
that time. Like me going over there was the first time where I was like, "Holy shit!" Like it's me and Arturo against this entire room. Like everybody does not want to see us do anything but lose.
I
It was
mean,
crazy.
the pressure you was, and people are going to be wondering, what does this have to do with Third Strike? Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing. I don't know if you remember this, Joe, but at some point in the night, you got on, and we played Ken Mirrors for like,
Yeah.
maybe like 30 minutes or whatever,
Yeah.
right? It seems longer, right? Because it's
Yeah.
Ken Mirrors and Third Strike. And then you got up and you just smiled at me. And then, like, it's almost like you had to play Third Strike to kind of like I don't know what you were feeling that day, but it's almost like you had to get on the Third Strike machine
Yeah.
because
I need to get it out of my system.
yeah, you need to get it out of your system. Like Third Strike was therapy for you that night, because dude, that was a wild night.
Yeah.
You know who else
insane.
was there? Andy, City
Andy,
of Brass, DTN TO. He was there too.
He was there, really?
He was there. He was there. I remembered. He was there, dude. He went there too. Crazy. He was there. Nice. Then Art, and then I know a couple of other East Coast players were there. But
that place was awesome for Third Strike. Like they were so cool over there. But I'm sorry, FFA. I started paying attention to FFA actually when Gutek started doing all the Rambat stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he used to film it all, and then Dr. Sub was on the mic, and 5-Star was playing, and Kenai and Pyro and everybody, and I used to be like, "Damn, this looks so cool."
Mm-hmm. You know, I'm glad that you mentioned that actually, Joe, because now that I think about it, like obviously I sound like a super Third Strike shill, right? You know, like Third Strike, like I feel like I'm gonna create the Third Strike religion, but like correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, but like no other game in the FGC was like doing commentary like that.
No, yeah, I don't think so.
Like, why did it start with Third Strike, right? I think it was something that we did in response to the Japanese because they were starting to do commentary.
Yeah, they started doing it, yeah.
And then we were
in all their ranking events, yeah. That's true. And then Gutex, honestly, a lot of love to Gutex. Like he doesn't get a lot of credit for it, but he really pioneered a lot of that shit. Like he really did with all the stuff. He did everything for family fun, like regarding all that stuff. You know, not a lot of people were doing that back then. Not a lot of people doing that at all.
You know, and even before Gutex came on the scene, you know, give love to Shogo, who was the owner of Dungeon Arcade.
Yep.
You know, obviously the godfather of all FGC commentary, the Rockefeller, right? Dr. Sub. Like it was Third Strike is like I'm almost like legit mad now, right? That more love isn't being given to Third Strike, especially now that it's turned 20 years, considering how influential it's been, you know?
Yeah.
Like remember at Evo 2006, they had Rockefeller commentate Third Strike.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
Which was completely like, because you know how like before then, right? When you know, I mean, it's kind of like the way now it is now, but like for the live crowd at least.
Yeah,
you know, when they
like
do
the house mic stuff, yep.
It's just a house mic.
Yeah.
And then they completely changed that up because people just wanted Rockefeller on the mic, and it's crazy. But you're definitely right, you know, just the way the game is being presented. I think Third Strike had a lot to do with that as well. Definitely. So I wanted to go ahead and before I forget some of these questions, I was wondering if you'd be open to answering some questions from the chat.
Absolutely anything. I will answer anything.
Okay, guys, you heard that, guys. So anything. Joe will answer anything. Anything. You may not like the answer, but he'll answer.
Yeah, might not be the answer you want, but I promise you, I'll give you an answer.
Okay. So N Cruz asks you, Joe, why are you so sexy?
Why me so sexy? That's definitely because mom and dad, I guess.
Good answer.
Right?
Good answer.
Right? If you really want an answer, that'd be my answer.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. So circus cancel. Oh, Katie Alpha asks, I'd like to ask Joe how he even got associated with Brazzers.
That's a funny story. So the Brazzers thing was when I first started streaming.
Uh-huh.
Everybody thought I looked like Johnny Sins, who's like a famous porn star guy.
Okay.
So they were like, yeah, like everyone was photoshopping pictures of me, and they put Brazzers over it. Like it could be anything. There's literally the funniest one. It's a picture of me holding cotton candy, eating a churro, and it just says Brazzers on it. Like there's not a female in sight. It's just me with a churro and a cotton candy, and it just says Brazzers over it. So during the stream, like everyone started like contacting Brazzers and stream, and
Uh-huh.
I even called up the headquarters on stream and shit just because it was like a joke, you know? Um, so then this random guy who said he was associated with Brazzer, but I'm not sure if he really wasn't in the end of it, was talking to us and he wanted to see what it was like what this FGC thing was about. And then we started talking about it. And then, it's funny. They asked me the same question when I was on the Yipes podcast
Uh-huh.
recently, the No Frills one. And someone asked that question. And the same thing, like it was one of my favorite times because, by the way, I probably never would have done it. By the way, like
Mhm.
I just did it to see like how far I can get it. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And just seeing the FGC fracture was not that I want to see the FGC fracture and burn, but it was just really funny to see everybody up in arms. Like guys were like, "Yo, you better do this. This is going to be sick. We're going to have tournaments. We're going to be porn stars." I'm like, "All right, guys." And then other people are like, "Joe, you cannot." Do this. This is just not good branding. This is a horrible idea. Think about what's going to do for your future. And I was like, yeah, I know. And I just totally listened to everybody either cheer me on or cry in the corner that this was going to be a thing. But yeah, that was it. It wasn't ever a serious thing. It was a joke that became almost serious.
I caught something that you said there. Like you dead ass had people like thinking they were gonna try to get into porn through your.
Yeah, it was incredible. I was like, you guys are wild right
I
now.
won't ask any names, but
Yeah.
that's pretty funny. Oh man, oh sheesh. So let's get some other questions here. So Circus Council asks, where was it? Joe, how great is Eunice? That's not
Eunice is a good game. Eunice is pretty sick, actually. I use Byakuya.
Byakuya.
Byakuya. Yeah, Eunice is cool. I bang with Eunice. I'm a
So,
fan.
so here's a semi-serious question. Shout outs to Colin, aka Shotakon123, in the chat. So, Shotakon asks, "What were your thoughts when Issei came?" Issei, talk a little bit about Issei.
Issei Suzuki.
Suzuki.
What a man. Um, that was actually that was also a not like drastic life changing moment, but seeing Issei in Chinatown and just being like, I remember the first time he was when you walked in. There used to be two cabinets. There was a big one and a small one. He
Mhm.
was actually playing on the small cabinet as soon as you walked into CF. Right before CF made the turn, there was a small cabinet right there, and he was playing on the small cabinet. And I remember playing. I think he was even using Q. I think he was doing something stupid. Like he wasn't. He wasn't using Yun. I think he was using Q. I don't remember, but he was beating everybody. He was beating all of us, and again, is that feeling like, what the fuck? That helpless, like, what do you mean I can't beat this guy? Like, I can't even get a game, like, not even one game, nothing. But he's actually, Issei, one of the nicest people. Like, he's super cool, super down to earth. The last time I went to Japan, I hung out with him like 2 or 3 different times. Like, really, really nice. He took me to Mester's restaurant a long time ago. We went to Mester's restaurant, and Mester has the
Well, wait a minute.
uh,
Wait. Mester owns a restaurant.
yeah, he's own. I'm not sure if he still does, but he worked or he owned a restaurant.
Oh.
He took me to the restaurant, and actually, as soon as you walk in, there was the SBO, an old SBO flyer, like on the wall in the restaurant.
Wow.
But Issei, like I said, one of the coolest dudes ever. Really, really nice, and a legendary third strike player.
Hmm.
Legendary.
So, did you know beforehand that Issei was going to be
Yeah, there.
coming?
I remember someone like talking about that he
Hmm.
was coming, and and like that was it. I remember just the whispers of it, and then like I'm not sure if I was there the first day. I'm not sure if I went there. You know what? I feel like I went there the day he was there because I very, very rarely did I ever go to CF when it was like daytime out. For some reason, I remember being there, like walking in the door, and it was like bright as day outside because I knew he was there. So I probably had to know, otherwise I wouldn't have went that early.
Yeah. You know what's crazy to think about when it comes to Issei Joe? It's like how free were all of us? Like
Oh, it was a
this
joke.
guy
Yeah,
came and he's not even playing on the shit that he's used to playing on.
yeah, yep. That's true. Yeah,
Like,
he's got a fan.
Have you ever tried to play on American sticks recently? Third Strike on American sticks
No,
recently?
no, it's probably horrible, right?
Dude, like my hands just dude, my hands are pretty weak already, but I feel
Yeah,
like, because we used to have to use those American sticks.
yeah,
Like, how the hell did Issei like getting like 80 game winning streaks
yep.
with
Easily.
an
Yeah.
American setup? Like,
What a god.
this
What a
just
god.
it just blows my mind. Like, I don't even know how he could have physically like executed the things he did.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? But like you were saying, right? It was almost like Issei took that as a challenge. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh.
It's like, you know what? I'm not gonna let these sticks defeat me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna overcome or whatever.
Yep.
Because he took those streaks really seriously.
No, he
Like,
did, yeah. And he would clean us out too.
yeah.
Clean us out.
Woo. And this was before free play, right? Like, how many?
Yep.
Oh
This
my.
yeah, yeah, this was dollars.
Yeah. Like, it was disheartening when you went to go eat and then you came back and he was still on the
Yeah, and he's
cabinet
still there. Yeah, it's
and
like,
he was
oh.
still in the middle of the streak. That's ridiculous. All right, so I think now's a good time to take our second and final break. But before we go ahead and do that, I just wanted to remind everyone that the Jazzy finale is going to take place this year at Defend the North 2019. Remember, guys, that Defend the North uh, is going to take place in Manhattan this year at the New Yorker Hotel, right across the street from Madison Square Garden and Penn Station. I've been to the hotel. I don't know if you've been to the hotel before,
I have
Joe,
not. No, I have
but
not.
it's almost like it's almost too classy for us. like
Great.
really, like like we're here. Okay, I get it. I get it. But it seems like a fitting place for the Jazzy finale, obviously. And so remember, guys, there's still time to register for DTN. Obviously, Third Strike podcast. All eyes are on the Jazzy Circuit finale. Remember that the Jazzy Circuit finale will take place at Defend the North. There will be 4 last chance qualifier spots up for grabs to see who joins the field of 12 for the Jazzy Circuit finale at Defend the North. And so you still have a chance, Joe. How sick would it be? Tell me in the chat, guys. How sick would it be to see Li Joe up there
Dude, I
in the Jazzy
suck,
Circuit
man.
finale, dude?
I suck. You guys
Well,
you guys would fucking destroy me.
see, here's the interesting thing, and I wanted to talk to you about this after the break, Joe, because obviously, one of the reasons why we started the Jazzy Circuit, was to try and bring back that sort of
Mhm.
competitive element in Third Strike. Like, it's for the past few years, Third Strike, at least in America, hasn't really had any kind of consistent sort of tournament
Yeah,
schedule.
yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so and so what happens is, we'll have an event here and there and so forth and so on, but it's mainly just people playing online, and
Yeah.
we all know what online Third Strike feels like. And so after the break, I actually wanted to talk to you a little bit about, not necessarily Third Strike, but just, the mindset of a tournament player,
Mhm.
because obviously you have, a shitload of
Mm.
experience.
Yeah,
And I just kind of wanted to pick your brain, after the break and talk a little bit about, like,
absolutely.
just like, how do you get sort of mentally and physically prepared, for a
Alright.
competitive match and so forth and so on. So, once again, guys, you're watching the Mutant XPerience podcast. We're going to take about a 4 or 5 minute break, and then we'll be back with the rest of the podcast. So don't go anywhere, guys. All right, guys, welcome back to more Mutant XPerience podcasts. I am here tonight with Long Island Joe, very special guest Li Joe, and so thank. So shout outs to everyone in the chat for all your questions and for being part of the podcast. So Joe, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about now that now that we've been now that the Jazzy circuit has sort of started and more Third Strike players are getting an opportunity to get a taste of what it's like to play competitively, on a more consistent basis. I wanted to sort of pick your brain about, like what do you do to sort of get prepared to play a match, a competitive match or a tournament? Because, obviously you've had so much success in multiple games and you just seem to like handle the moment really well. And so
Yeah,
like without giving away too many trade secrets.
it's there's like I wish I had an answer because people ask me that a lot, especially
Mhm,
with Evo.
mhm,
They're like, "Yo, how the fuck did you do that?" And we're okay with playing on like the stage before top eight and then the top eight stage. Like, how were you comfortable going through that? And I was like, honestly, it was really like there's no choice. You know what I'm saying? It was like, all right, I've really got no choice here. Um, But, like, for a tournament, if I know I'm going to a tournament, it's or, like, if I'm gonna play a game competitively, I really do try my best, especially before tournament, maybe, like, a week or so, 2 weeks ago, is I really try to just engulf myself in the game, you know what I'm
mhm,
saying? Like, be about it every single chance I get. If I'm not home playing it, I'm, like, watching a match video. If we're not playing casuals, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm reading about it, I try my best to really, like I said, engulf myself within the game. As far as a specific matchup goes, like being, excuse me, like being at a tournament, the one thing I used to do, I've gone through two phases. Phase one, when I was younger, I used to never want to see the bracket. I used to never, ever, ever want to see who I was playing because I thought what it would do is kind of screw me up. Like I don't want to be like, because once you look at the bracket, you start worrying about the fifth match. You know what I'm saying? And not
mm,
so much the match that you have next. So then I started being, I started saying, I don't want to see the bracket. Just who do I play next? Because this way it lets me get not a head start, but all right, okay, I got to play Chun. So now I know what to do against Chun. Yeah, crouch roundhouse, not when she has meter, blah blah. You know what I mean? Like you start like putting the pieces of the puzzle together before you even have the puzzle in front of you. And then a
mhm,
lot of it comes to like adaption once you're actually playing the game and playing the match. It comes to adaption and reads and all the other kinds of stuff. But I used to never, ever, ever want to see the bracket. And then I started just wanting to see the person. So that kind of calmed me down. And just like breathing, like you really, I know that this sounds cheesy, but breathing and water. I always have a bottle of usually always have a bottle of water on me and just really focusing on breathing because breathing, if you focus on your breathing, like making sure you're taking the right amount of breath, it actually calms you down because you start to not care about what's going on behind you and you're just kind of focusing on yourself, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And making sure your breathing is good. And then obviously I remember I used to do this all the time. As soon as the if you ever watch matches, you can probably see it. This is actually a trade, not a trade secret, but you might see me do this a lot, especially when well, like years ago. I'm not even sure if I do it anymore, but right at the versus screen, like after we pick our characters, I used to always like close my eyes and double check myself and almost think about what I can and can't do against the character or how I should basically play the matchup. Like as soon as we lock in, I just go like this and I'm like, and I think about everything I can do and everything I can't do within the matchup. Like, do I do this? Does this mean I can rush down? Like, am I allowed to do this? Blah 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 blah. And like it just kind of cycles through my head super quick for like 3 seconds, and then the match is starting, and I'm like, all right, I'm good to go.
mhm. No, that's pretty interesting. I like that idea of sort of not seeing the bracket
Yeah,
because like on one hand, some people like to see it because that's the way their brains work, right? They're able to
yeah,
handle all those different permutations and possibilities. But I could see how that would totally distract another player,
yeah.
who like
I don't want to see that far.
yeah, they want to see that far into the
Yeah,
potential
yeah. I don't
future.
want to see that far. Yeah.
So obviously, you've played in fighting game tournaments. You've played different games on a much larger scale than you've played third strike tournament, like in third
Mhm.
strike tournaments, right? I mean, that goes without saying. But let's play a little thought experiment real quick, Joe. Like,
Okay.
what do you think it would be like? Like, obviously, one of the highlights of your career was making top eight. I believe it was Evo 2016, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And just in front of that massive crowd, right? And but just imagine instead of four, you were playing Third Strike.
Wow.
Like, does that change anything at all? Like in terms of like if you had to imagine like what game would be harder to handle like in front of that many people? Like if the stakes were equal, if the crowd was equal, the exposure was equal, the only thing that's different is the game. Like like how difficult would that be? You think to play Third Strike in that
I
scope?
think I think I would be okay doing it.
Uh,
It would actually probably make me hype because like just hearing that game go on
uh,
and like hearing everything from the character select screen to right before the match starts to the are you ready go, like hearing all that shit. I imagine hearing that as loud as I heard Street Fighter 5, and like right now my fucking adrenaline is going like that. I would probably get so hyped to play the game on that scale, like with that sound and everything. Oh, that would be amazing. But I think I'd be able to handle it just as fine. Again, probably it would just amp me up a hell of a lot more.
I mean, just because when I first saw that, because 2016 was when they first moved the finals into that
Yeah,
giant ass arena,
yeah,
and obviously as a Third Strike player, I thought, well, I mean, maybe the players in Japan, right? They're not,
yeah,
they're not as phased by that because they've had things like SBO,
yeah. SBL, yeah.
which obviously is a huge crowd, but just thinking about, like, do you think one day we could see a Third Strike top eight at that arena, dude? Like imagine, you have these two cabs, these two head-to-head cabs on that stage. I mean, it clearly it's not a matter of how old the game is. They had Melee right on the
Yeah.
main stage. Just to think, just imagining what it would be like to be in a top eight Third
Yeah,
Strike
yeah,
in
it would
front of
it
that
would be
crowd.
wonderful. It would definitely be wonderful.
Like what would we need to do as a community, Joe, to make that happen? How do we get Third Strike on the? It sounds like Mission Impossible, right?
Listen, I love you to death, and I love Third Strike to death. I'm just not sure if it could happen. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
don't think
Listen,
so too. I don't think so
I'm not
too.
saying I would not want it to happen. If we're just talking about facts, I think it's hard to justify
Hmm.
when unfortunately a lot of it comes down to like money and stuff
Yeah,
like that. You know what I'm saying? And as dirty as I feel saying that out loud, it
yeah.
is kind of sort of
We
true.
we keep
I
it
mean, like
real in the Mutant
it is
XPerience
it is it
podcast.
is kind of true. You know what I mean? Um, what would someone would have to be like, you know what? I have $500,000 and I'm gonna host this tournament. Like that's it.
And
That's
that might
that's
not
that's
even
how it
be
have to be.
enough, Joe.
Yeah, that might not even be enough.
Because
Yeah, you're right.
because that means they would have to bump somebody off that could be making them more money than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So a millionaire would have to be like, I love Third Strike, and I want to see everybody
Yeah.
play at this level, and
like
here you
like that
go.
like that guy who just started that new wrestling federation, right, to
Yeah,
compete with WWE,
yeah.
right? Like he just literally just he said, okay, I'm just gonna spend my money and create a new wrestling organization,
Mhm.
and it's literally a matter of how deep his pockets
Yeah,
are.
exactly. Yep, yep. It'd be the same thing. Someone would just have to have some money to throw out there.
And but it's a nice dream though.
It sure is. It sure
And
is.
imagine how many. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
So whatever.
so I think now would be a good time to go ahead and start this segment. Speaking of dreams, uh, Joe, I know you're new to the Mutant XPerience podcast,
Mhm.
and so basically on every show we do a segment called "Pack It Up." And so what I do is I scour the internet for some of the more memorable Third Strike lowlights. And so, seeing as it's the 20th anniversary of Third Strike, seeing as we all started the Jazzy circuit, and that we're all it's sort of Third Strike is sort of making somewhat of a comeback. I thought what we could do is for this Pack It Up, we were going to show clips of comebacks, memorable comebacks, specifically from our friend Vankabot's Jazzy online fundraiser tournaments. And so, later last year, late in 2018, me and Vankabot came up with this idea of doing online tournaments to try and raise money for the Jazzy circuit. Mm-hmm. And, basically we run, mostly Vanka runs them, but Vanka runs them every other week. And so shout outs to Vankabot. If you don't follow this man, Joe, you should follow him. He's super entertaining, multi-game streamer, but he's also the most consistent Third Strike streamer right now. He streams Third Strike 4 days a week. Wow. On, 4 to 5 hours a day, except for Tuesday, because on Tuesday, he calls them Bruise Day Tuesdays, Joe. This man streams Third Strike for 8 hours.
God bless him.
And so go to twitch.tv/Vankabot, guys. Definitely follow this man. Check out his Patreon. He's doing good work for Third Strike scene. And so he runs these things called the Jazzy Online fundraisers. And so what I did was I tried to find the best comebacks. Like when all is lost, Joe.
There is no hope.
Yeah, you have some experience in that because you've probably made some of the more memorable comebacks in FGC history.
And I just did Ultra. That's it.
Yeah, I just did Ultra.
I just did Ultra. That's all.
You made a choice, right?
Yeah.
I made a decision.
Right once. I won.
Yeah. And so, sometimes that's all it takes. And so for this edition of Pack It Up, it's going to be all comebacks from the Jazzy Online fundraiser. So first and foremost, can you see my OBS?
I can see.
Okay, great. So without further ado, this is this week's edition of Pack It Up. All right.
Slam dance.
So,
Slam dance.
Nominee number 1. This is me. How did I get on here? So I got KD Alpha dead to rights, and then I fuck up one drill. But it doesn't matter if he fucks up. He's just got to guess again. So that was definitely not pro on my part. Shout outs to KD Alpha. Pretty sick comeback there. I'm still salty about that. All right, so here's another comeback here. This is Simon Yu. Remember that name, Elijah? And he's taking on Big Nasty. And Simon definitely does not close the deal here. Oh, my goodness. Oh, man. Scoop. Nominee number 3. Now this is just galaxy brain, Joe. I mean, I don't even know how to comment on this. I'm just gonna let you watch this. So basically, Cycle Stebbs, the Remy player, and he. Oh my god.
That was sick.
That was really sick. That was really sick.
That was sick.
That was the mid-air SA3. Oh my gosh. Nominee number 4.
Hey.
And so. This is a match between Onagai and Haas. Onagai is from Michigan, and Haas is a longtime Alex player from Austin. And so, watch as Haas makes the blue collar comeback. Right?
Oh God!
Oh
God!
Oh
God!
And so that was a pretty sick comeback. And nominee number 5. It wouldn't be a comeback clip without the man himself, Sandy Bags, aka Fake Decoy, the scariest Hugo on the planet, taking on KO Fiend's Chud. KO Fiend? Yeah, KO Fiend has. Oh my god.
Backbreaker.
Oh my god. Oh no. What a comeback. So pick your favorite comeback, guys. 1 through 5. Tweet me. Tweet Joe. Let us know what you guys think is the best comeback.
Let me know what time it is.
Yeah. What was your favorite comeback, Joe?
That Hugo one was pretty sick.
The Hugo one was sick, right?
I liked the Hugo one, and the Akuma was pretty sick too. The Akuma Remy.
Yeah, the mid-air Tatsu. So before we get out of here, Joe, I wanted to go ahead and talk a little bit about ECT.
Yes.
And
Let's talk about
so
ECT.
and so let's go ahead and let's show everyone the
Yeah, do you have a flyer?
oh,
Or
I
yeah,
can do that.
go get him, Tiger.
And so remember, guys, East Coast Throwdown is a FGC event run by in conjunction with obviously a lot of other important people, Li Joe as well. And so if you can just go ahead and go to smash.gg/ECT 2019. Registration is still open. Uh,
There it is.
and so, Joe, tell us a little bit about the event and what people can look forward to at this year's
So,
ECT.
uh, ECT is a tournament that me and the one John Gallagher started. Technically, it was more John to begin with, honestly. I was just kind of like the helper outer man. And then I became very involved in it around ECT 3 or so. So, this is, I want to say this is is this year 10 or year 11? I don't remember. I think it's either year 10 or year 11, the first time in Connecticut, the home of of Evo East. So we are paying reminiscence, paying some love to the old Evo squad. We're gonna have your typical games. You know what I'm saying? We are a part of every single like league that's going on. Like there is the Street Fighter, so we are part of Capcom Pro Tour. We are part of the MK League. We're working on little hint. We're trying to be a part of now. Nothing has been said for any event, but we're trying to get on the Samurai Showdown tour for what Samurai Showdown does. What we don't know yet. Again, they are talking. It's in talks. Yeah, it is I've always enjoyed this, not just because it's my event, but as even though events have gone up in production and things like that, they sort of lost the FGC feel a little bit, and that's not a bad thing. And I'm not trying to talk bad about any event by whatever stretch of the imagination. But we've always tried to make ECT still feel like, especially the earlier ones, like early ECT was literally a joke, not a joke, but it felt like a rugged arcade tournament, and I was always a big fan of that. Like I like the rawness of the old FGC, so we always try to keep that somewhat within the walls of our ECT events and things like that. It's difficult to do with how production quality goes up and people just kind of get that sense that it's not like that, but we do try and keep that grassroots feel as much as we possibly can still within the tournament. But yeah, guys, thank you very much for the years of supporting ECT, by the way. And I can't wait to see you guys there and play some Third Strike with everybody. I
And so,
always play Third Strike.
yes. And speaking of which, can you tell us a little bit about the old man games, specifically Third Strike? There's going to be arcade. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And can you explain a little bit about the registration? Because I know this is a little bit new, but there's like
As far
it
as
seems like there are different like tiers, or like there's this too old, too furious
yeah, that
registration.
was
Like how does
yeah.
this
So
work?
okay, so 202 Furious is for the older games. Like if you want to just play the older games, you're
Uh-huh.
able to come in and play the Too Old Too Furious, which is a shout out to all the older games, the games that I enjoy playing mostly nowadays. So you're allowed to register for that if those are the games that you're playing, because they are older games and it's
Uh-huh.
not part of the mainstay show. So we figured it would make sense to not charge the same thing. If you want to register for this, you can register for that. If you don't want to be a part of this, you don't have to be a part of that. So it's kind of, and by no means is it trying to split everyone up in half. It's really just for people that want to go just for that specific reason. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh. No, I definitely agree with you. Like I feel like regardless of how you do it, regardless of how each individual TO does
Yeah.
it,
Yep.
it does seem really ridiculous to charge people who are just there for the old person games the
Yeah.
same as
Old person games.
I guess old person games. I don't know what else to say. But I just wanted to go back to something you were saying about the earlier ECTs. Like
Yeah.
to me, what was so sick about the earlier events was like when you went to like that event, you didn't feel like a customer, even though technically
Yeah.
you were. You know what I mean? Like you felt like you were part of making the event really cool.
Yeah.
And like how like people would just be like, oh, just on the spot volunteer to like run something, or
Yeah.
or if they need like like that's obviously, you can't really do that anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, I don't know if I said this story on stream or not, but I don't really go to many, FGC events, modern FGC events. But I have been going to more this year because obviously the circuit. And one of the things that I immediately recognized when I was at Frosty Faustings. Shout out. First of all, Joe, I don't know if you've ever been to a Frosty Faustings, but you definitely need to figure out a way
I've
to make
never,
it out there because it is.
but I love those guys.
You gotta
Good
you,
guys.
you gotta get on that Sam show, Joe.
Yeah.
Sam show, Joe. And so, one of the things that I recognized immediately at Frosty was like I was running brackets for Third Strike, and and these players, they would speak to me as if they were customers, right? Like they're like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
which is technically that's true, right? They are customers. They're
Yeah.
paying for an
Hey,
experience and
Penny.
so
Yeah,
forth.
yeah.
But like it was so like I almost had to kind of like I had to kind of like center myself and remember, oh yeah, that's right. This is 2018. This is
Yeah.
2019. This isn't 2008 or
Yeah.
2007. And but what are some of the things that you're trying to do to kind of keep that FGC feel? Aside from the arcade area and the, are there?
Kind of like you said, we we want to keep what made the FGC great and the things that I always liked about it.
Mhm,
Like I encourage people to be involved and be vocal, and not that people say like don't get hype, you know what I mean? Like that
mhm,
was a big thing that people like, oh, like you can't do that on camera, like you can't do that on stream. Like
mhm.
I used to hate. I get in trouble all the time at my own events because I encourage people to go on this. I'm like, yo, get up there and go dap your homeboy after he wins. You know what I mean? Like fuck, like I other TOs and people yell at me all the time, like, Joe, stop letting people on the stage. I'm like, well, I relax, let them go on stage. Like I enjoy. I want to give the people or something, not people, anyone that comes to the event. I want them to have an experience. Guys, there are so many tournaments. There's so much of the same thing going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there has to be something that makes it feel a little different. And I want people to feel like I felt back in 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, and playing these games and traveling and going to events. Like I miss that feel. So if there's a way I could show everyone what it used to feel like, and again, look, it might just seem like it's your basic wash tournament where we're in a ballroom and everyone's there and that's it. There's chairs and there's setups, but I think it's the vibe and the energy that comes along with the people and the crowd. Not so much beyond the event, the people make it feel different more than I could or the games could or anything else can. I think when people come to an ECT, they know that it's it has that grassroots, and like we want it to always have that grassroots. So bring that with you to the event.
Mhm. Definitely, definitely. So remember, guys, East Coast Throwdown 2019 is going to be at the Stanford. What hotel? Or what
It's I don't remember the
Stanford?
exact name of it. Yeah, I don't remember the exact name.
Yeah, it's going to be in Stamford, Connecticut this year.
It is
It's
Stanford something hotel. I forgot the
Yeah,
name.
it's going to be in the same but it will be the same hotel as Evo East back when we did
Hmm.
Evo East. So that's going to be really amazing. I mean that was 10 years ago, but from what I remember, I thought the rooms were sick. They were
Yeah, the
really
rooms were
roomy.
cool. Yeah.
They were really big actually. And it's great that you're in Connecticut because obviously New Yorkers don't have an excuse not to go. Quick train ride, Metro
Hmm.
North to Connecticut. So remember, guys, East Coast Throwdown 2019 is going to be from October 19th to 20th. That's another thing that you do that more and more TOs are kind of moving towards, Joe, the 2-day event.
Yeah, 3 days. We're not evil, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't. I can't justify having a 3-day event. I really can't. At least not yet. If the event ever got to be a serious thing, like I just don't think our event justifies a 3-day date.
Yeah. So it's going to be a 2-day event, October 19th to 20th, Saturday to Sunday. Um, Registration, I believe you guys extended early reg.
We did. Yes, we did. You have another couple days.
All right, so if you guys want to take advantage of that super low $45 early bird registration, head to smash.gg/EvoEast ECT 2019, and definitely make plans to come to ECT. Remember,
Yes.
guys, if you're just interested in the old man games, you can register using I guess the Too Old Too Furious pass, I guess we'll
Yep.
call it, which is only $30, obviously plus the game fees. Or if you want to be a spectator, it's $25 to spectate. As far as Third Strike goes, I know the elephant in the room. There are some people who are wondering what's going on with the Jazzy circuit moving forward. And all I can say is stay tuned. You have to can't really announce anything official yet. But let's just say I will be at ECT helping, helping out with Third Strike. So, let's just leave it at that. All right. So once again, Joe, thanks for being on the
Of
podcast.
course. Thank you for having me. Thank you very much, dude.
This was really amazing. I'm glad that more and more people, particularly the newer people in our scene, realize, just how much love for this game there is.
It is the best fighting game ever made.
Wow. Did you hear that, guys? He kind of just said that. You just said that like it was the truth or something.
I'm gonna tell you guys the top 3 best fighting games ever made in no order. Okay, top 3 best fighting games ever made in no order are Third Strike. Third Strike. No, I'm kidding. No. Third. No, I'm kidding. Top 3 best fighting games: Third Strike, King of Fighters 98 or 2002. Those are interchangeable, and Guilty Gear Accent Core. Those are the 3 best fighting games ever made. No questions asked. I don't want to hear anything else about it.
You heard
Case closed.
You heard it there. And so last question of the night, Joe, and the floor is yours. 20 years, Third Strike. 20 years.
Wow.
Like what do you have to say about that? 20 years.
Wait, let me straighten myself up a bit towards the camera. 20 years of Third Strike. So, wow. Third Strike for me, honestly, in general has paved the way for my competitive drive tremendously. The two most important games, I guess, getting me to be where I am is definitely Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Those are the 2 games I could say that without those 2 games, I'm not sure if I would feel the way that I feel about fighting games. I don't know if I would be as good as I was, as good as I was. I don't know if I would care for the scene because Third Strike is the game that made me understand that it's not just me and my friends from Long Island that are playing fighting games. It made me understand that this is like the world is playing this and the world is actually getting together to play each other. And there are tournaments all over the United States and there is a world tournament. Like without Third Strike, I'm not sure. I mean, I guess maybe I would eventually know that, but I wouldn't have been as into it or as young to figure it out and piece it together and have it actually be a part of my life as I got older. 20 years of Third Strike. Like I don't know. I went to Japan for Third Strike. I've never been to Japan. Third Strike has got me to Japan. Third Strike has my best friend John. Me and him played Third Strike together all the time. Like it really is, as stupid as it might sound. And if you ever tell anyone the story on the street, they'll probably think you're an idiot. But Third Strike has been embedded in my life in so many ways. I mean, even though I don't play it anymore, you can never erase what the game has done for me, what the game has made me feel, and the people that the game has brought into my life.
Wow. Well, enough said. That was absolutely beautiful. I can't really follow that up, so we're just gonna leave it at that.
I have nothing to say. Stream over. Goodbye.
Yes, mic drop. So once again, thanks again, Joe, for your time. And we'll end it there. And so until next time, guys, this is Mutant XP, and I'll see you on the next Mutant XPerience podcast. See you later, guys.